Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ahlan wa sahlan fikun.
Wow. Keep going.
Welcome to this episode of Listen Habibi.
Awesome. That was really cool.
My man.
Hey guys. So, welcome, like Shadvi said, to this new episode of Listen Habibi. We are currently in season 2, and this season is going to be about Lebanon, about Lebanon. And this episode, the very first one, is about being home, away from home. So, we're going to basically talk about what it's like to be American and Lebanese, but living in America. As Shadbi would like to say, too Lebanese to be American, but too American to be Lebanese. So I would just like to thank you guys all for, again, all the support that I've been getting over this past week. And I'm so excited to get into this one. So we're going to hop right into it. حبيبي me here today, I have Charbel Matta, one of my closest habibis. And I'm not going to do the introduction, but basically, Charbel is here with me today to sort of talk about these deep emotions that we have about Lebanon and being away.
Deep.
Yeah.
Very deep.
So please introduce yourself and tell us like what you're about, your connection to Lebanon, work, age, whatever you're comfortable with.
My name is Charbel Matta, as Adelene said. I'm 23 years old. I work at Chris and Sam's Barbershop in Norwood. I was born in Lebanon and moved here in 2001. I think that keeping my Arabic language, my Lebanese language so strong, I think I give all that credit to my dad because we'd help him understand the English language and he'd help us understand the Arabic language. Mm-hmm. So working together as a team really brought us equal. Having to adjust in his eyes was probably a lot harder because he lived in Lebanon his entire life.
Right.
And to move to a country where he didn't know a single word of English, mm-hmm. to a land where he had to fight to survive, I give him a lot of credit for what he did. It was definitely harder for him. He really paved us an easy path.
Right. And you guys built a huge business.
Thank God, yeah.
Very successful.
God is good.
Thank God,
good.
Right?
Thank God.
It's amazing. I know that you still have family in Lebanon.
I have a ton of family in Lebanon.
And I know that you have some family here, mm-hmm. but having that disconnect and being away from your family in Lebanon, what do you feel about that? Is it something that you struggle with? We're so used to being around our family,
I feel like nobody realizes what they have until they're not around, until it's gone, until they're not around it anymore.
Yeah.
And my family being so far away from me, thousands of miles away, is it's one of the toughest things. I missed my grandparents getting old. I missed my cousins growing. I missed my uncles getting married. I missed deaths. I missed marriages. I've missed everything. But honestly, I know that one way or another, they needed somebody here. They needed somebody to give them the motivation that at least somebody got out of here. Somebody left this country, all the corruption that was going on. So to them, I feel like I'm an inspiration, but at the same time, it's tough for me to be able to live day by day and not have to worry when I know that my cousins and my families are sitting over there worrying about everything that I never really had to worry about.
Yeah.
For us,
what?
For us, we never really had to worry about when's our next dollar coming. This country is thank God for this country because opportunity isn't something you have to really fight for. It's really given. Mm-hmm. If it's given, you take it and you use it. It's the only way that I can truly explain it is every time I collect a paycheck or take a bite of food, I have this selfish feeling where I feel I'm getting something more than my family can get over there. And I know it's tough because, like I said, being Lebanese American, I have my heart over there, but my mind is set here.
It's the most difficult saying goodbye, I think, for me.
Definitely.
When I don't go as often as I wish I did. We try. We go to live there. It's not a vacation. I don't live in a chalet or, on the coast somewhere and near the clubs and whatever. I go to be in the village, literally.
That's me.
The village in the middle of nowhere. But it's tough at the end of the summer when it's you're saying your goodbyes and you don't know who you're saying goodbye to forever.
There's too many people. You never know. Honestly, it's I honestly realized that my favorite part about going back home isn't the beaches, it isn't the clubs, it isn't anything like that. It's honestly just waking up, walking out of my front door onto the balcony and looking out into the mountains in my village of Ihmij. I can tell you right now that there is not a single feeling that has ever felt the way it feels the minute that you get off that plane out of the airport in Lebanon. Something hits you, and my uncle jokes around. He's like, "Oh, it's this Bailey," but I know it's honestly
it's
like
the trash.
It's more than it's a feeling of like your the puzzle piece that was missing has finally been.
Isn't that
the
so
puzzle is
beautiful?
complete. Yeah,
isn't it
definitely.
so beautiful that you have something
Definitely
to say that about?
Honestly, like, there's no better feeling than feeling like, okay, I'm finally home. I'm finally where I belong.
To tell you, like, I'm obviously an academic. I love school and I really push myself to learn and to go down
You're
that
good
path.
at it.
Thank
Very
you.
good at it.
But I have friends that are maybe double or triple my smarts. And they work hard.
But they never had the opportunity.
And they can't go anywhere because, 1, they can't afford it. 2, there's no opportunity. And 3, nobody's encouraging them to do it. Or it's very hard to find that push, that inner motivation. And that, I guess, makes me really sad is when, like, the mind is there, the intelligence, the willpower. Those are the ingredients to a better nation. When you have a whole generation of kids like that. And what's stopping them,
Honestly, one thing I realized about, like, the people of Lebanon is they're probably the strongest fighters I've ever met in my entire life. They can be broken down 8 times and rebuild 8 times, and they will not look down. Their chins are always up.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you could blame the Lebanese people for the way Lebanon is right now?
I think that I blame I can't sit here and tell you who I blame, because the problems that are going on in Lebanon aren't something new. It's not something that just snap of a finger started happening. These are problems that have been going on for years. And I think that Lebanon's biggest issue is they don't like to update. They really love living in the past.
So do you blame the people for that?
I blame yes, I definitely blame the people.
It's a mentality.
It is.
Do you ever feel like you sit down? I mean, I'm going to talk about my personal experiences, but I have sat down with my friends in the little daya, so it's a very old mentality, and we'll talk about random things, and I'm going to have them on the show next week, actually.
That's awesome.
But
can't wait for that.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see the cultural difference, and then even if I have friends in Beirut, just from the village and the Daya compared to Beirut, they're different. Do you feel that, like, because of that old town mentality and because of this, like, tradition and the old, like, religious kind of, they put up walls, honestly, between each other sometimes.
They have.
Whether it's politically, religious, anything.
They have.
There's the old mentality. Do you think that's stopping them? Like, what
honestly,
do you think
in our perspective, right? We had the opportunity to leave our country. We had an opportunity to climb these walls and get away from them, for us to finally realize what was behind them. In their case, they grow up with the same way that their parents were raised. So their grandparents raised their parents one way, and their parents raised them that way. And the only way that they're going to know to raise their kids is the same way they were already raised.
So you think they need to leave?
What I think is, if change will ever happen, or Lebanon needs to flip for the better, I think the only change would happen from the people that have already left, or if people leave.
Isn't that so sad?
It's sad, but, like, it's reality.
Do you feel like it's hopeless? Do you feel like...
I don't think it's hopeless. Honestly, like I said, Lebanese people, like, the people in Lebanon have to be the strongest people I've ever met. But I think all that comes down to how strong their faith is as well. Every time I talk to my grandparents back home, everything they say, inshallah, if God wants it that way, it will be that way.
Yeah.
And they always have trust in God. don't be afraid. You know, you should never be afraid. And I think that's how the people in Lebanon live. And whether they're Christian, Muslim, everybody is living. Everybody's living their faith.
Let me tell you my opinion on this. I strongly believe in faith, and I think that it's something that I struggle with a lot when it comes to me and like where I stand with God, and that's, I think, a personal relationship between me and God that I'm still working on every day. But when I'm in Lebanon, there is nothing like me and God. Like I could almost cry. Like it's beautiful stepping out, and like you said, and seeing the mountains and just like it's a different kind of peace that I've never been able to witness here, especially when
it feels like God's land.
I swear. And when you're going 100 miles an hour here, just trying to like keep up and push and be successful. And I'm definitely like going to talk about this in future episodes, but my lifestyle is not one that I'm always happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And
here, right?
Here.
Yes. And
going to Lebanon and just like literally breathing in and out, like, and just praying, and there's nothing like it. It's really just in such
I agree with you,
a violent nation.
I do agree with you, but you know, I feel like when I'm here, I feel like there's so much going on. I have so much to do. There's so much going on around me that I'm never really focused on where I am and what's going on in my life and who I am. But when I get there, I feel like it's just clarity. I feel like I see who I am. I know where I am. I enjoy the moments that I'm in. I understand where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very rare that you can say that I'm finally like content with everything I'm doing in a day. Mm. You know, here I feel like I'm always rushed. There I feel like I have nothing but time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, something that I always say about Lebanon, I feel like they live day by day.
They do.
They live to survive.
They do.
It's sort of like, you know, how are we going to make it till tomorrow? And I think that's a general statement. Like there's people that plan and whatnot, and they have these huge jobs and whatever. It's really region to region. But generally speaking, it's a day-to-day lifestyle. It's your family. It's your faith. It's your culture around you.
But here's the thing. They do make the most of every day.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like
they live day by day. Whereas here, it's like, okay, long term, what am I going to do? I want to go to college. All right, long term, I need to work on my grades to get into college. I need to save up money. And then it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do for vacation next year? It's very like,
it's always
all the days blend.
Exactly.
All of the days blend. Exactly. And then when you're there, it's like slow motion.
Yes, you honestly do witness every step you take. Here, you're running a mile and thinking you're walking. Over there, you're walking, you feel every step you take.
Do you think because they're not as an efficient people that maybe we're not as developed as we need to be? And you know what's really funny? I make all these statements. The Lebanese all around the world are so uber successful. Their work ethic is insanity.
Because they come from a place where they had to fight
to get out.
But here's the thing. It's not that they're overworking themselves here. This is what they're used to. This is work to them. You know, I always hear people complain about, oh, this person took my job. This person took my job. But in reality, those people just will do absolutely anything it takes to put that bread on the table for their families. And I feel like when all my friends, they always look at me, hey, dude, like, you work way too much. But in reality, my dad worked this hard. I'm going to work this hard. I hope to God my kids work this hard. I'm not saying that I hope that life is challenging for my future, you know, but I expect my kids to understand that life is not easy and you have to work for what you want. So
I think it's a beautiful thing, though.
I respect everybody back home for how hard they work to survive.
You enjoy being Lebanese here?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
What do you like about it?
Honestly, okay, so like I said, I cut hair. I'll be sitting at the shop and somebody will be like, oh, what are you? They think I'm Greek. Greek is a huge thing, but I honestly think it's any country that touches the Middle East, borders the Mediterranean.
I get Spanish sometimes.
I get everything. I get everything except for Lebanese. Then they hear Lebanese, they're like, oh, yalla habibi, you know? And I like the idea that I like to see the fact that my culture is making it everywhere, you know? I like to see Lebanese restaurants opening up. I love to see all these festivals that happen. I love to see.
The festivals are so
Oh,
much
the
fun.
festivals are
I bring my
incredible.
white friends or like
They
my
love
like
it. My friends love it. They take the pita bread, they dip it in the food.
I
and
teach them how to
everything. They don't even-
dance. We're in the Depke line, like
Dapke, oh my
stomping
God,
away.
nothing is better than like. That's something I wish here in America. You don't really see much stuff like that, like group cultural stuff. Like
Yeah.
when Lebanese music comes on, you got Feres Karam bumping on the speaker. You got people grabbing hands. You got a big drum in the middle, and everybody's surrounding, everybody's smiling, everybody's holding hands, and it shows you like, wow, we're really united at this moment. Like
it's beautiful. It's so much fun.
There's no dapke in the American culture. You know, there's no. I feel like there's no like
this togetherness.
Exactly,
this like one thing that unites.
Exactly.
So I will say too, like I find culture in music and food and church.
I love the music
and language. Seriously, just like talking to other people in Arabic. Although it's kind of broken, my Arabic, because I'm not there all the time.
But that's the beauty, I think, of having similar people. So growing up and living in Plainville, it's a very, very like white dominant
area. It's just white populated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there wasn't many Lebanese families. I remember I went to King Philip, which was a tri-town. You had Plainville, Rentham, Norfolk, and out of 3 towns, there was 2 Lebanese families, 3 Lebanese families at top.
Oh my gosh.
And even at that, it's you grow up and you feel like we said earlier, we felt too Lebanese to be American and too American to be Lebanese, and you felt like you were like your own category. You know, you weren't American, you weren't Lebanese, you were just in your own category of Lebanese American. And growing up and being able to go town to town, meet new people, you start meeting kids like us. You know, people that speak the broken Arabic, people that have the American minds but the Lebanese hearts, or the Lebanese. You know, just the way our families raised us is a lot, stricter, tougher. I feel like we always thought about everything going on back home. You know, like.
I do know what you're saying. Personally, I like to listen to music.
I love the music.
The slow, clean, romantic music. I swear, it's something. It's something that's like, it brings me right back, and it's just peaceful.
It does.
I also read Khalil Gibran a lot.
I haven't read that. You told me to read it. You said that everything
he's
I told
a poet.
You did. Yes, I gotta
listen to it. Lebanese, I gotta read it. And he actually moved to Boston.
Yeah, they have a statue of him in Boston.
Yeah, that's where we did our protest.
We did the protest near it.
Yeah, we did protest, the vigil. Next to it. He is actually really similar to us, Khalil Gibran. He writes a lot about being in a nation where people sleep upon soft beds.
Yes.
Where everyone is dying in Lebanon, or where the land can't even. My favorite poem by him is "Dead Are My People," and I'll have you read it.
Okay,
and
I'm definitely gonna read it.
My listeners should definitely check it out too. I think it applies. Dead Are My People.
Dead Are My People.
And it talks about the famine in Lebanon.
Get it, guys. Dead Are My People by Khalil Gibran.
But it's deep. It's he basically says, like, if I were corn or if I were the land, I would feed the families or that little boy so that he wouldn't die.
Wow.
And he's like, if we didn't die by the swords of, I think it was the Turks, the land would kill us.
Wow.
And it's very deep and emotional, and every time I read it, I find something new. So I definitely recommend reading poetry.
I will definitely give that a try.
It's a very deep
I'll come back on here and talk about it.
Yeah, we'll have a Khalil Gibran episode.
But yeah, like, back to the music really quick before.
Yeah, no, tell me.
Honestly, like, a lot of the times when I'm driving the car, I feel like most of the songs that, like, I play, American songs, have the same,
sex, drugs,
drugs, it's the same, it's the same category, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
And honestly, when I listen to my Lebanese music, it takes me away from all that, and it puts me in, like, a different mindset. I'm happy, I'm smiling, I'm dancing in my car, I'm banging on the dashboard.
Yeah, the bass hits.
I feel like I'm at a festival, So yeah. I realize that the most happiness I get is when I'm at those Lebanese festivals, surrounded by my people. And so I figure, take it everywhere you go. Listen to it in your car, So I find the Lebanese music very, very amazing. They're so talented. The people that sing all the words,
It's deep.
like
It's
very
deep stuff. It's just
very.
deep.
You ever listen to sad Lebanese songs?
It's like poetry.
It hits you.
It's
It
poetry.
really hits you.
And just the language is different. Like they'll talk about natural things and
They
like
do.
it's just beautiful.
And I like the comparisons. Like
Yeah.
they'll say like, oh, like my heart
Hit us with
runs.
some lyrics.
You know, I can't. I'm not gonna sing for you right now. Come on. Maybe on another episode.
Oh yeah.
بأرض بلادي عشت معذب شو طالع
In addition to all of what we're feeling about Lebanon, I don't let that take away from who I am as an American.
Exactly.
I don't know if you agree.
I'm grateful to be
I am
here.
so very grateful that I'm in a very tough position where it's like there have been mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. Mm-hmm. Like I had some really tough mornings this past year. And the only thing that pushed me to get up to go to school, the only thing that pushed me to get up and do those applications, to write those essays, to like really was honestly the Middle East and Lebanon, because I know for a fact there's a little girl somewhere around the world right now in this moment.
Saying, I wish I could be there.
They wish.
Exactly.
They wish that they could be in our footsteps, or they wish they had the right to go to school,
See,
or they wish they had the right.
As motivation. And I love that. I honestly, I envy the fact that you can use that as motivation. For me, like I told you before, I felt it as like a selfish thing. But now that I'm growing and understanding my country more and understanding the people there and being able to talk to my friends who are grown now and own their own businesses, it gives me a sense of drive where I feel like I'm grateful for being here, and now I understand it and I got to use it, you know?
So I know you already told me what you think that means for you, but
Yes.
if you're comfortable talking about what that means for you on the show,
about
going back.
Oh, definitely. So
I don't agree with this, guys, but I would love to talk.
That's okay. Not many people agree with it.
It's tough.
To be honest with you guys, to all the listeners, I respected my parents' decision of moving here. My parents decided when we were very young that we were going to move back to the United States. And my dad was going to start a business. He was going to start working, give us a new life, put us in school, and help us grow. And I still respect my dad's decision because, like I said, he did something that takes a real man to do. That being said, I do have different thoughts, though. I do plan on going back to Lebanon and starting a business there and moving my life there. When I do have kids and a family, my thoughts may change. At that moment, I may feel what my dad felt and be like, this is not the place I want to raise my kids.
Right.
But as for me being 23 years old
right now,
and understanding my feelings towards my country and my heart, where my heart is, it's still back home. And it's tough. It's tough to look at my father in the eyes and be like, hey, Baba, like, listen, Badafak, like, I understand that you worked hard and you put blood, sweat, and tears into bringing us into this country, putting us in this beautiful home, like helping us wake up every day without a single worry. I understand it's going to be very tough looking at him and being like, Dad, I want to go back home. But one thing that I will not do, one thing that I can't stress enough, I will not leave without my dad's permission, without his blessing. Because I understand how hard it was for him to bring us here.
It's not easy.
So the minute I get that okay will be the minute I go.
It's very conflicting, especially like being a Christian Lebanese too. I feel like our population in Lebanon is slowly diminishing, especially after the recent explosion.
Oh.
A lot of our generation is picking up and leaving because they're realizing, like, wake up, people.
Honestly, I just... In my eyes, like, I just feel like when we run, I feel like we lost. You know, you have two options. They say it's either fight or flight. And if we flight, we get, like, I know we fought. We've been fighting. Left?
I know what you're saying.
But we can't stop now. You know what I mean? What happened after the explosion? You know what? Let's go before the explosion. All the protests that were happening all around the world. Adelene, we had one in Boston. There was one in France. There was one in almost every single country in this world. And they were all for everything politically going wrong in Lebanon, all the corruption going on in Lebanon. Mm-hmm. And seeing our people all around the world, It should have made me feel like, wow, look at all of us. But in reality, I looked at it like, wow, look how many of us are gone. Who's to say that if we stayed, our country we could have been stronger? You know, like one stick alone will break, but 5 sticks together is harder to break.
Yeah.
You know, so if we keep leaving, what's left? Who's left?
So if today you had a family, let me
American
ask you, would you feel guilty that you grew up in a society like this where
And they did not?
Listen, I come from a place where it's like I've utilized every opportunity that's come my way. And I've worked double hard maybe than a kid that was born and raised here with generations before them. And it's something I struggle with a lot because it's like, hello, people. I don't have it served to me like there are things
it's on
that
a silver platter.
It's never on a silver platter. But you know what? I still wake up every day smiling that I actually struggle to acknowledge what I've accomplished this far because I feel like there's maybe 75% more work that I need to, like, the 25 that I've reached in success for this year, maybe there's still more.
God bless you, though. You're still reaching a goal.
In my perspective, why raise your kids in a place where you know that they can't even have the choice to make that hustle?
When it comes down to my children,
you're going to make that decision
kids,
then.
I'll make the decision then. Who's to say our country can't flip in 4 years? Who's to say our country can't flip tomorrow? All it takes is a little strength. It takes us coming together, which is happening now. You know, it's not going to be something that can happen overnight. So tomorrow isn't reality. But it's definitely something that could be possible. Being in the Middle East, I consider Lebanon a sheep thrown in a cage of wolves. It doesn't belong. It's dropped in the worst, I hate to say it, but in the worst area. And it's, if guys, listeners, if you guys ever get the opportunity to go with any of your Lebanese friends, please give it a try. Seriously. I took my friend and he told me it had to have been the nicest place.
Who did you take?
I took Joe, one of my friends from high school. So Joe is Lebanese, but he's never left the United States. The only place he's ever gone was Hawaii. And that's in the US. You know, so he's like, here's the part that sucks. When we left to Lebanon, we did a layover in Turkey. Yeah. And people were asking Joe, "Are you in the military?" And he's like, "No, why?" They're like, "Why are you going to Lebanon?" And it sucks to see that people get such a bad view of our country, you know? Because you give it the opportunity. You go there, and I promise you will never find more peace in your life than being on the streets in Lebanon, walking in the souk of Charbel, like seeing the old street vendors, seeing all that. It's like you don't get any of it here. And I can't say it's nowhere in the United States, but I've only traveled Massachusetts. Yeah. Only gone to New York. Only gone to Florida. You know, I never really got the whole view of the United States because the United States is huge. Yeah. Lebanon's 3 times the size of Rhode Island, and that's it.
Yeah, with the mountains laid out.
Yeah, exactly. With the mountains laid out.
Yeah.
So it's honestly incredible. Like, I don't like the image that is on our country, but I think that comes from the area it's located in. You know what I mean?
A lot of things I have to say about this, but first, like, my approach at things is sort of to hustle to eventually make it to a point of maybe power or influence where, like, the change I'll make will be sufficient.
Yeah, I understand that.
Charbel, you pick up and leave to Lebanon tomorrow. You'll maybe help a couple people out.
It's better than not helping anybody, though.
I think you could have better chances at helping even more people out if you play a game a different way. But if you feel like in your heart you should go, and you should go. Yeah. I think you should do it. But to your point before...
I'm not going anywhere with COVID right now. But
to your point before, there is something very humbling about walking the streets of Lebanon, especially where I'm from. Beirut, honestly, I haven't spent a lot of time in Beirut.
I got to last summer. It's different. It's very different than the villages, but I think it's because French. I mean, you can't say that you walk the streets of Norwood feeling like it's Boston, correct? Yeah. You know, it's very different. Yeah. But I can tell you one thing, and the people in Lebanon, I don't care if you don't know them. Like,
oh yeah,
you just walk by a house, they're like, "Oh, come on in, have some coffee." Here, like, I'd be afraid, like, hey, dude, like, if I invite a random dude in my house, I'm afraid he's gonna rob me. I'm afraid he's gonna, like, here, like, they're like, "Oh, come in for coffee." My grandmother never locks our front door. It's never locked. It's always wide open. Our cars always have keys in them. I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "Teta, I need the car." She's like, "Oh, your uncle said the keys are in the car." I'm like, "You guys just need the key." They're like, "Who's gonna rob it?" Like, there's so much trust and there's so much love for one another there, and to see that is, like, incredible. You know, I love to see.
Everyone's afraid from everyone.
Exactly.
Here.
I'm very big into being family oriented. My family is absolutely my world.
I agree.
My order, like, for the love of everything, is God and my family. Those are my top two, and God being number one because he gave me everyone I have. And to be out here and have the friend group I have. I do have friends that were born and raised in the United States. I do have friends that are American, Irish, Italian, Greek, French, you know, or like people that are mutts from all around. But I have groups, and all my groups consist of Lebanese people. And I honestly do believe, because, you know, I actually had this conversation with one of my friends. I said, do you notice how everybody in this group is Lebanese? And he said, oh, this is just our Lebanese group. I go, okay, name another group. He goes, wait, you're right. It's all Lebanese kids. I go, I think it's because we have that sense of like...
The culture is the same.
Exactly.
The expectations are met.
We can connect at that point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your parents are strict. Mine too, man. Like,
yeah,
you know
bro.
what I mean?
I
like,
got it, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here it's, I feel like very lenient. I feel like the people that were raised here it's not that they won't understand my culture. I just don't think that it's something easy to understand without living the actual culture.
I definitely understand that, for sure. Like, I'll have set expectations for friends that I've had over the years, and when they don't meet them, I like I'll go above and beyond for a person. That's just who I am. It's in my blood. Whether it's generosity through money, through opportunities, through connections, through experiences, through literally come to my home. Like, we'll feed you. Like, my home is your home.
My friends, they got my American friends growing up, they got so used to it now. You can ask my brother.
It's tough.
Like, they literally, our friends walk into the door. They know not to be on a full stomach. They know that there has to be room for even a drink, you know, because we don't take no for an answer.
That's true.
You know what I mean? But I can walk into a house, like, I'm not saying anything wrong about it, but I can walk into a house, I no introduction is made, no nothing is offered. And for us, it's like my mom will put out a whole table like she's feeding the military. You know what I mean? And it's like nobody second guesses it, nobody questions it, nothing. Yeah. It's just normality.
Introductions is actually a really big one.
You don't really get introduced much.
For us, it's like if you don't acknowledge everyone in the household when you're coming in and out, it's disrespectful.
Yeah. I remember we used to have like cookouts and stuff, and I'd have my friends come, and my dad would invite like a couple of our customers. And my customers would be like, wow, like, I've never had an owner of a household pour me a plate of food, bring it to me, sit me down, like you know what I mean? It's very rare that you find somebody so
generous. The word is generous.
Giving.
It's
literally
just generous.
Like Lebanese people, if you can give me one word to describe Lebanese people, it is generous. Have you ever been to a restaurant with your Lebanese friends?
Yeah.
Or let's do parents. Let's say parents.
No,
let's talk
even
about
friends.
That. Okay, let's talk. My friends and I embarrass the heck out of ourselves at a restaurant. Why? You guys would think, oh, we're too loud. We're chewing with our mouths open.
Which we are. No, you're loud.
We're loud. We're loud, but we're arguing over the bill. Who argues to pay? Absolutely nobody but Lebanese people.
I know.
Like,
we'll be at,
there's a point where we'll start rock, paper, scissors shooting at the table. People are looking at us like, what the heck is going on?
Just split the bill.
Are these people all right? Yeah, just split the bill. But we don't do that. There's no, like, I love when the waitress comes up. She goes, is it going to be in separate checks? And with it, we don't even let her, like, finish the sentence. We're like, oh, no, it's all going to be, like, you know.
On us.
Yeah, we got it. Like, we got it.
Yeah.
And then she's running away because everybody's chasing her with a credit card.
Oh, my God. The best part is when, like, you've already been seated and you're ordering and someone goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, and you know that they're going to pay the bill. That's my move. Or before, like, I'll be like, oh, excuse me, and I'll slide it to her. I'll be like, this is for the bill. And she'll be like, oh, okay, the whole thing? I'm like, yeah, the whole thing.
But it's beautiful. I love it.
I like it, you know.
And you know what? There's give and take.
There it is.
So, you know, you realize that this person gave for you and they're giving what they can.
That is very
You give
true.
what you can. And those friendships are...
We'll never give more than we're able to give.
Exactly.
Which is nice. Like, we'll never say, oh, we'll do this, but in reality not be able to do so.
But everything we do is from our hearts.
It really is. From the bottom of our hearts and beyond. Like,
I've gotten screwed so many times in my life because everything I do...
Dude, I think we all have.
It's from my heart.
Honestly, I think our parents raised us, I feel like, in 3 ways. You know, be close to your faith, be generous, and be humble. Okay, and one of the biggest things for us is like our generosity takes us a long way, but it can only take you so far when you're surrounded by a lot of people that
It's tough.
don't understand where it's
Yeah.
coming from. So it's
Yeah.
like you can give when I meet somebody, you know, I trust them at 100%. You know, I give them my 100% ability, and little by little that depreciates. But I feel like nobody comes at me looking at me at 100%. You know, I feel like they have to grow to that while I'm already grown to that.
But sometimes I look at them and I'm like, you know, maybe they're doing it the right way because I have
Because they're so concealed.
I know. Yes, and I feel like I have developed trust issues.
Yeah.
If we're getting deep
I
here.
feel like you're right, because I feel like they protect themselves a lot more.
And you know,
because
maybe
of
they're
the
doing
outcomes
it,
of things.
but it stinks when you're in that kind of a society, but they're adapting to the society they're in.
You're right. It sucks to feel like you
Giving
the
is
fear
a
of
bad
being
thing.
hurt. Yeah, exactly. Like it sucks to feel like, okay, if I give this person something and they take it and they truly take it and not
even thank or
not appreciate it as much as I felt like it was something that I gave them, you know, like it hurts, you know, it hurts to feel like, wow, I just went out of my way. I just had this thought in my mind that I'm going to change this person's day or I'm going to help this person out.
And
they don't even, it just goes over their head or like in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
Like it's
okay,
not even
though.
like, it's not even like they appreciated a single thing I just
Yeah.
did. But in reality, it's just, they're probably not used to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? How many people do you have like that?
Mm.
Like, it's very rare. It's very rare that you find somebody like that here. And when you do, you hold on to those people because those people are something to keep
Those are good
around.
people,
Definitely.
yeah.
Those are good people.
Looking back at the way Lebanon is right now, and you mentioned it briefly earlier, how, you know, you receive your paycheck and you look at it, especially now in these days, and you're like,
Especially these
okay,
days.
this is a number that I have on my piece of paper.
By these days, guys, sorry to cut you off. These days, we're talking about the the American dollar being 7 times what it was worth. 7 times what it was worth in Lebanon now. You're talking $100 used to be 150 Lebanese, and now it's 700 Lebanese. That's just insane.
I mean, my family's gone back to living off the land, literally, like farming.
Yeah,
Farming.
my family's always lived like that. To be honest with you, we're very like farm, like, you know, farm raised people. Like my dad here, like he wants to bring like everything he had from home
You guys
back
have
here.
chickens?
We have 30 chickens. We have partridges. Guys, I didn't even know what a partridge was before my dad got them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Come on, you know the song.
I know I know the song. Come on, of course. Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. But like my older brother got bees. Like, for what? To get stung? You know, I never Yeah, exactly. Like George went and he's like, hey, Dad, I want bees, and my dad's like, yeah, I'm on board with it because it's you're doing farming stuff. You know, you're using your surroundings, you're using the environment to make something.
There's actually a piece that comes with that, you know, like just being in the outdoors and taking care of something that's alive.
He says, I love gardening. He tells me go pick the weeds. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, that's not fun. He's like, what do you mean? That's relaxing.
The economy has gone to absolute shit.
Yeah, we'll start with that. That was probably one of the first things that happened.
And that was a gradual thing.
Yeah.
People started taking to the streets and protesting after the WhatsApp
and then
tax.
they kind of did their strikes on work. They stopped working for a while.
And that's
when
itself,
they shut the banks down.
They shut the banks down. You can't even get to your money. Your money in the banks.
Yeah, it's your money and they hold it like it's theirs.
And then not to save the economy, by the way, because that's already gone.
Yeah, because to save themselves.
That's
to save
just
themselves.
gone.
Exactly.
And then to top it all off, we get Corona slapped in our face.
And then during Corona, by the way, Lebanon doesn't have that many churches. That doesn't have that many hospitals.
Hospitals, let alone like correct medical care. Period.
When Corona came out, they were like, "Wow, we don't even have enough respirators for half of this country." And you guys understand, like, a respirator for older people is what keeps them living during this COVID. You know, like,
yep.
If we don't have enough for half the country, what's left? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to be left?
Then
Half
to
the
top
country?
it off, nobody's going to listen to the rules or the laws. This is what's funny too about the Lebanese people. Just really quick, we will cut each other in line, won't listen. Like, but as soon as you leave the country, everyone is stuck
they're
in
check.
line.
They're in check.
They put in check
because they have no
in
say in
Lebanon,
here.
there's like Wostat, and there's like the favors and all that. Like,
there's like
they're not going to listen to the rules.
Here, you want a candy bar? It's $1. You give them that $1 right then and there, or you're not walking out of the store.
Everything is a negotiation.
Oh, sir, just put it on my bill. What bill? You pay it at the end of the month. Somebody trusts you enough for that?
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much breathing room in the way that they're raised there.
It's kind of bad though.
Yeah.
Like, there's no system.
There is no system, and it's so easy to just walk all over everybody, but they'll just do it right back to you. You know what I mean? Here it's like you got rules. Either you follow them or you're tossed. You know what I mean?
Habits.
You're out. Yeah,
you're going
exactly.
to jail.
You're going to jail. There's no playing around. Like,
right.
There's a cop pulls you over here. You're either taking that ticket like a man, or you're going to jail for whatever.
Or you're going to court.
In Lebanon, it's come on, buddy.
Don't you know this guy that I know?
Don't you know that? What about the $20? If I give you $20, how about it's very easy to get around things over there. But
so
back to what we
saying. Yeah.
So we had
no one was listening to the COVID rules.
Yeah, nobody was listening. Trying to get somebody to do something you want over there is very hard.
Yeah.
So they were still doing their like partying, whatever, all that crap. But then to the cherry on top of everything,
in August,
there had to be an explosion.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the explosion in the port, right? Yeah. Terrible. Before that we were having fires too. Don't forget about the fires. The fires weren't really like something that were really talked about much. But the explosion, I think, covered all that up because of
it was the third biggest explosion of all time.
Ever.
After nuclear bombs.
After Hiroshima. Like, come on. Like,
and it looked like a war
for a country that has never pushed war on anyone, for a country that has never done
the war is
anything.
inside because the Lebanese people are not loyal to Lebanon first. They're loyal to the religious
believers. Yeah, exactly. Who they believe in. They follow their politics.
The Sunni will be with Saudi Arabia, and Hezbollah and the Shia will be with Iran.
Always.
And I think that as soon as the people start identifying with being Lebanese first, being brothers, and you know what? I can say the same thing about America. I can say the same thing about America.
Oh, yeah.
If I identify with you as not being Lebanese first, but American, like all together we are American, we are pushing for this country to be a better place. So many divisions will suddenly disintegrate.
Exactly.
People will work through their problems. But back to Lebanon, nobody wanted Lebanon to do well in the first place.
It's kind of like the wall you were talking about.
Exactly.
Those are the walls that are keeping our people away from one another and not allowing us to connect and
it's generational. I feel like we're getting away from it now.
I blame my parents' generation. Yeah. I don't think it's us. Like, look, everybody talks about, for example, like how a child isn't born racist, he's taught racism. Yeah. Well, a child isn't born to follow this person, he's taught to follow this person. But in reality, you guys got to look at it in one way, and it's before we were before we were Aoun, before we were Hizb, before any of this, we were Lebanese. Our grandparents were Lebanese. When you write on your paper, when you write nationality, you don't write your political party. You write down Lebanese.
Yeah.
Because that is who we are.
Sunni,
when the explosion happened, I took a step back and really tried to understand like what caused it. You know, we were doing so well at kind of keeping steady with no more bombings, no more fighting. We're trying to keep our nose out of it. Like, you know, we're never really the people to involve ourselves in anything. If anything, we're trying to pull ourselves out of it. We're
defending.
Exactly.
Like they fought off ISIS at the border of Syria.
Oh yeah.
And Lebanon. Like that's all we have the strength to do in the first place.
And
we're small.
It sucks to hear other countries say like, oh, it's not that we're attacking Lebanon because they did something wrong.
They're always attacking a group in Lebanon.
Yeah, but they want it. That's why they're doing so. That's what they say. And it sucks because, like, what about the rest of the people? The Lebanese people don't have a say in what's going on.
Yeah.
You guys are just going to sit here and bomb it until nobody wants it anymore? That's not the case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't... I got to be honest with everybody. Like, the explosion really taught me to appreciate my country a lot more.
What country? Lebanon.
I was talking to somebody and he was attacking me about the fact that I posted something about killon yani killon. Killon yani killon means like everybody means everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of referring to
just the political system
in Lebanon, how we want everybody out so a new one can be started. And he started defending somebody that he believed in. And I told him, buddy, you're looking at this all wrong. He said, no, you're probably just a believer of somebody else. I said, no, I'm Lebanese. I said, if my grandfather was the reason that this bombing occurred, I'd be mad at him. I go, I need you to take a step back and understand that before you were this person's follower, you were Lebanese. So you don't be mad at the people voicing their opinions. Be mad at the situation that happened, you know? Like, take it in and understand that.
Do it together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is something beyond our politics. This is something that, this is us.
People died.
People
died.
You still have grandparents in Lebanon. You still have aunts and uncles in Lebanon. You have cousins. You have, like second cousin. You have everything. You know what I mean? You have friends. You have really good friends in Lebanon. Everything. You care about those people. You will put your politics aside and you will understand that I want the best for them.
What if you were walking down the street that day?
My friend was there. She literally left 4 minutes before the whole thing happened.
Oh,
she was driving away and felt a vibrate while she was in her car.
Glass shattered.
The fire. Honestly, I gotta say one thing before we, just in case. But I respect. I can't tell you guys enough. I respect everyone in Lebanon. Lebanese Red Cross. Everybody that jumped.
The Red Cross is the only thing that's running this nation at this point.
There's no money in that country.
There's nothing.
For them to take money out of their pockets and. For the people, the donations, wow! Like you did a car wash, the car wash in Norway.
Yeah.
Like
it was something small. We raised like about 10,000.
They did masks. I remember they sold masks. They did all this stuff.
We did what we could. It was something small.
But don't
but
forget,
the whole
like there was a
world
lot
did
of,
what they could.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it didn't take our country coming together for us to. It didn't take our like leaders coming together for us to get over this. It took everybody else. Exactly.
Everybody else.
And that's sad because you guys are here to better the lives of people. You're here to control.
It's your duty.
Yeah, exactly. You're appointed your position because we expect you to do what you're supposed to, you know, to watch over the people, protect the people. But it just sucks because you had the president of France coming into Lebanon in 1 week caring more about that country than its own leader did.
Where were you when it happened?
I was, the explosion? I was at work.
Yeah.
I remember we messaged Abuna Joseph from Brockton and we told him, Abuna, so much is going on. Can we please have a mass? We need to pray because like just to get our minds off everything.
Our little
and
group.
That was the start of our group that we have every Thursday.
I was babysitting because I babysit. At this point, I hadn't started in the government.
My cousin sent me a video and he's
I
in the
started
military,
getting
so
videos.
I got nervous.
I started getting videos from my friends.
He was downstairs in the basement.
And I was like, what is going on? I was like, what is going on? And my heart sunk and the kids I was with were like hugging me. And I was like, guys, they're like, what does that sound? I was
you know, it's sad because I have a customer of mine. He's this Greek gentleman named Mike. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, I have to find a new mechanic. I'm like, why? He goes, my mechanic hasn't been to Lebanon in 10 years. 10 years. The first week he gets there, he's there during the explosion and died. And it's like, is this the image? Like, I don't want that to be the image that people get from my country. We're like,
I didn't know anyone that died, thank God.
I knew one of the kids. He was a firefighter.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know him. I can't say I knew him like he was my best friend, but I had met him multiple times. He would always stay up in my town because he was very good friends with a big group of kids I had.
Yeah.
And they found, and here's the part that sucks the most. It's not that explosion went off, boom, he had passed away. No. Explosion went off, he went in to help somebody, got stuck under rubble, managed to reach his phone and call his mom, who then contacted the Lebanese government and told them, my son is stuck under rubble. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't work through the dark. It's not even that. It's like it is literally murder, and they don't even claim it. You know, this is the worst topic we could possibly talk about.
My village was unaffected because they were so far away. They got their asses in a bus
and drove down
and drove to Beirut. And they didn't know they didn't know if Israel bombed them. They didn't know if it was Hezbollah who bombed them. They didn't know what the hell was going on. Okay, they got in the bus With what? With brooms.
Yeah. That's all
to
they
sweep
have.
up the glass on the floor to help people.
There was
Lebanese
300,000 buildings
people.
that were destroyed.
And they came from everywhere. They created a chain of people holding hands. I think that was for the protest.
That they did that
all the way up and down the nation, holding hands.
They did that down the highway. I remember that. The pictures, I saw all that. That was insane.
What else do you need for like Shab to get together like this? For people to come together as a government? Like, how do you go to sleep at night?
But like, here's the thing. Can I be honest with you? It took President Michel Aoun. It took him almost 2 weeks to address the people.
Camera.
Just stand in front of a damn camera and talk to your nation and tell them, here's what happened, blah blah blah.
Or
I'm
it's
sorry
gonna be
for what
okay.
happened. It's gonna be okay. Doesn't
nothing.
even say any of that. You know what he does? He takes to Instagram. You know what he does on Instagram? All he does is post a picture of the Lebanese flag. God bless you, Mr. President. You are doing great.
Not to be political, but I think everyone is almost as bad as everyone else.
I'm not saying anyone's worse than anyone else, you know. But definitely it's a team effort. And they're, you know.
And you know what's like sad too? It's like it's a third world country to the point where there's ishtirak. And like the electricity.
We don't even have 24-hour kahaba.
We don't even have electricity
for 24 hours.
And then the water.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
you got to fill your own water. You got to do all this stuff. Like
I can't go drink the water that comes there. Like,
because it makes you sick.
Yeah.
So
I have to drink bottles.
To it.
I know.
I'm used to it. Like I can. Plus, we're lucky. You know, next to our house, we do have like a well that comes like.
But I'm just saying, like generally,
but to
paint the picture,
exactly.
We had an issue with trash being piled up. People were getting sick because they would burn the trash because nobody was picking up the trash. I actually made a film about this last summer.
But they weren't getting paid to do it.
I'm just saying, like where is the government? Like people are
exactly. You'd rather your streets look like shit than you guys actually.
People getting sick.
Yeah, they didn't care. That whole group does not care. All they care about is what's coming into their pockets and what's leaving everybody else's. They don't care about themselves.
Shadbi, there was a politician. I'm not going to name names or anything. There was a politician getting married in Ihdin.
Yes. I love Ihdin.
Ihdin
oh my God. Isn't that where you're from?
Yeah. So I had like there and Harif Erde.
Yeah.
Very small. But he was getting married in the church that I want to get married. Sayyid al-Hassan. It's the one that looks over all the mountains. Yeah. Whatever. Great, beautiful place. That's where my parents got married. Yeah. Breathtaking. Like the first time I went up there, you just cry. You just sit there and breathe and cry. It's beautiful. So he was getting married, right? Mm-hmm. And it was in the middle of the summer. And I remember like they picked up all the trash.
Just for his wedding.
Just because he was driving.
Exactly.
There. We have beautiful things and we have things that will trigger us.
Sorry, that's one of them.
No, it makes sense. It's only logical. I feel like I'm two people. You have like two sides.
I think we all are.
And I think that it's only been an asset to the woman that I am today. My home away from home could be America.
Could be. You're right.
You know, it could be Lebanon. It could be America. But what's important is that we remember the blessings of where we come from. And we remember the sacrifice of what it took to get here because people would kill to be where we are right now.
Yeah, I want you guys to like honestly, for all my Lebanese listeners, like or anybody whose parents came from like a foreign place, honestly, just understand
thank them.
Yeah, just thank them because every step you're about to take in your life has just been paved and so much easier than where they were. My grandfather has, I'm not sure if it's dementia, Alzheimer's. He's starting to forget. And it sucks where you'll ask him, oh, like, do you remember George Shadwashadi? And he's like, oh, yes, like him and my son Samir left to America, but they don't care. They don't come back and see me. But we're right there in front of him. But he just doesn't know who we are because of how much time has gone, you know? And it sucks for my dad to, every time he goes, you know, he tries to go every year. He tries his best, but it's hard running a business, having a house to take care of.
And you go to live there.
Yeah, and it's hard for him to, like, sit there and look at his father in the eyes and be like, Dad, I left you and I missed all this. But in reality, like, my dad being here helped them more than he'll ever know.
Yeah. So
one thing we have to always remember to be is grateful because we could have been in their shoes and this could have been somebody else. Imagine this could have been your uncles or your aunts here and you're still there. What would you be doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely be grateful for where we're at because
There's nothing like
we
it.
wouldn't have this conversation if
We wouldn't have had the
every step we've
ability.
ever taken is because of our parents, because of everything that God wanted them to do, and they did. You know,
Amen.
So God bless them. God bless your family. Honestly, I
Yours
love your
too.
parents. I love your parents so much.
حبيبي يا عيني يا عيني يا ليلي يا مسهر عيني.
I think it's something that we can come together about with every other culture, is to really just learn about where we come from and that struggle of making it here, because this is the land of opportunity, and I'll
Definitely.
forever fight by that statement.
Definitely.
There's nothing like it
This
here.
country is very, very incredible. Like,
We have two heavens on earth.
Honestly.
two blessings. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you,
guys.
Charbel, for
Thank
being
you,
on the
Ads.
show.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, it was
hopefully
great.
I can be on more.
Yeah.
Honestly, this was very fun.
I would love to have you. Seriously, I would. So thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for the next episode with my friends from Lebanon. All right.
I'll be listening to that one, definitely.
All right. Bye.